All right. So, this is going to be a little bit different from my normal videos. Normally, I tape my videos, or I guess I can't say record. I guess I say record my videos and go from there. But one of the things I wanted to do was do these things live, especially this project that I'm working on with the Bible, and that is going through it, giving a kind of an average take, or at least what I consider an average take from somebody um, with what's in it from beginning to end. Because when you when a lot of people I think of the Bible, at least myself, think of the idea of reading it or just the conceptual nature of it, you think of Gregorian monks and these all these rules, and it's very dry and it's very boring. And no doubt there are some parts in it, Leviticus, that are very dry and difficult to get through. But they're almost always very informative and very insightful. And there's a lot of narrative in there that is very intriguing, and a lot of great accounts of people in there that drive a good involving narrative behind it. I find that going through from beginning to end, when I finally was able to get past Leviticus, is where my stumbling block always was, and actually get through there. That it adds so much more context to the verses that you read, even more so than getting it through a sermon. Because a lot of times your preacher, when you go to church, preacher will give you a sermon. He's focusing on one book, or more likely one few verse or two to go through it, and there's not a whole lot of context behind it besides what else he leads into that. If you're reading it for yourself, you get way more insight, I think, out of it, and it's a very good thing to do. Now, obviously, to read it, you have to have access to the Bible, which is very easy, actually. Especially, all you need is one of these, or a computer, or whatnot, because the Bible is electronic, just like everything else on this earth seems to be as well. Now, there are apps out there. I've looked at a couple apps. I haven't looked for them recently, because actually the best resource I've found has been Bible Gateway, which is what I'm going to be using tonight on here as I read through it. It's very intense. It's very thorough. There are so many different versions or translations of the Bible that are in there that you can get to. It's free to use. It's easy to navigate. You just type in what you want. Where do you want to go? Genesis 1. It takes you right there. You can do specific passages, or you can do the entire chapter. And then it's almost like a Kindle, where you can hit the arrow key and you're there next. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more unplugged, a little bit less electronic, you can also see things like you can just go buy a Bible. And what I use is Apologetics Study Bible. This is the one that I've got that I've been using, that I really like, because it's not just got still drop that. Not just got the Bible in there, but it also has places where you might have questions not under. And that's just the way it's going to be tonight. There we go. I think I got it. Dropped my mouse as well. So let me get back in. First live stream. Got a couple of bugs to clean out on that. But the Apologetics Bible, basically the Apologetics Bible provides you with a lot of extra insights, some more context, thorough context. It gives you some articles where people are explaining things. Because one of the things that we don't do well as Christians in church is specifically geared, mostly in our youth groups, and in preparing them for when they are challenged with questions from people who are just trying to lead them away, or just trying to throw their own questions, their own issues with the Bible at them. And if you don't really prepare somebody for that, if you just say, "Hey, this is the book, this is the Word of God, it is unquestionably right about everything," you don't really give them a good perspective for when they are challenged on it. Because when you're only challenged, when your only response is, "Well, it is right because it's the only thing that's right." If you have any type of doubt facing you, that's going to make you start questioning yourself. So it is important for us, and we just lack the structure to do it. Oftentimes, is teaching folks, not just kids but anybody, some of the insights behind the Bible, and maybe some of the extra information goes on from there. One of the things that what I like about going through this is not just a context of what the Bible is going to bring to you, but also the fact that it brings you closer, and it puts you in a better headspace when you're reading through the Bible and you're getting through these things. And I think that's helpful. I think that's helpful for everybody throughout there. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through the beginning, and we're going to read through it, and we're going to talk about kind of what's going on, and we'll go for as long as I feel seems practical, and then I can end the stream because I started it. Um, but yeah, this is starting off. I've got 7 subscribers right now. I think I know every single one of them, and so I'm hoping that maybe by doing this live will also attract some more viewers and maybe get some engagement. By all means, if you've got something that you want to share and share in the chat, then do it. And especially since it's such a low very small community right now and very small viewership, that you'll probably get answered, and we'll go from there. But brief introduction: who am I? I'm nobody special. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, and I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church, or to get you to donate to any special cause or anything. All I'm here to do is try to spread the word, give you some exposure, show you that it's not a weird thing to be a Christian. It doesn't make you an odd person to believe and have faith. If you're questioning about existence, if you're looking for something more, because something inside of you is telling you there's more to life than just what you're going through, and just you're here and then you're gone, then I want you to take note of what I've got to say. You might find it very helpful, and it might change your life. And if that happens, that's great. I hope I'm a part of that, and I hope that I further you in some way towards that. Because what I want is the same thing everybody who follows with Christ wants. It's the same thing God and Jesus want, and that's for as many people to be saved as possible, as many people to reach salvation as possible. And it doesn't mean you're going to be a perfect person, and you shouldn't feel like you're going to be a perfect person. I've been a Christian my entire life. I don't remember a time where I wasn't. I grew up in the church. I've walked away from church, never walked away from faith. I have come back, obviously, or come back to church, but it's something that's always been with me, and I am far from a perfect person. People who grew up with me can tell you, not a perfect person. I definitely have my own baggage and my own flaws, and that's the whole point about the name behind it. I'm a flawed man, and yet I know that there is forgiveness for me, and I know that there's forgiveness for you, because there is forgiveness for me. All you have to do is seek it out. All you have to do is try to change your life and live it more like Christ. And we'll get started from here. So let's talk about Genesis. Let's talk about Genesis 1, the beginning of all things, right? I'm going to read through this, and unfortunately, I don't have the right voice for this, I don't think, because when you think of the beginning of everything, when you think of a very deep, very godly voice, I think of I think of James Earl Jones, the Mufasa voice from James Earl Jones, and not so much the Morgan Freeman one. He's very much the wise man. I think it was Bruce Almighty where he played God, and he had a very wise look to him. But I think for the beginning, when you're actually experiencing the power of creation, of what kind of just outside of your mind power it takes to just create the universe, I think of something deep, like ocean deep, and that's why I think somebody like James Earl Jones would probably be giving this reading the due justice it deserves. But we'll go from there, and then we'll talk about what this means, and it's going to be a little bit long because it's all chapter 1 of the Bible really all runs together, because we're going to talk about the 6th day, not the 7th. We'll just talk about the first 6 days, and we will go from there. So, chapter 1 of Genesis, the first book of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the... I'm going to stop here. Hang on. Share screen so that you can follow along with me. Now, what I'm using is the New International Version. That's the version I basically grew up reading, and I still use it. But the study Bible I use uses a Christian Standard Bible. We'll talk a little bit more about the different translations, and we'll go from there. But just find a translation that works for you. Some people read King James. I find it too fancy. The wording is just way too over the top, way too extra, right? So, again, from the beginning, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky, and there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds." And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kind, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times, and days, and years. And let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth." And it was so. God made 2 great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the 4th day. And God said, "Let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky." So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every living thing with which the water teems and that moves about in it according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the water and the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, the 5th day. And God said, "Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, the livestock, the creatures that move along the ground, the wild animals, each according to its kind." And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them, male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground." Then God said, "I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food." And it was so. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. And that'll wrap up chapter 1. So, Genesis 1, it's the beginning of everything. It's the beginning of the heavens, it's the beginning of earth, it's the beginning of life, it's the beginning of the elements, everything. And what we're really witnessing is the story of, or the account of creation. Now, there are many different interpretations on the origin of the universe, origin of God, and this particular chapter, because it's such a hard concept to grasp. You know, the beginning of everything. What is the beginning of everything? Who created God? Where did God come into being? How did he create the universe? Well, you know, the belief in God is a belief in a being just so immensely powerful that he has created everything, you know. And there are many different theories, and some theories say that it proves that God doesn't exist. Some people prove that it does. And then, you know, there is often derision that comes with any of them. One of the ones that see, if you take it kind of the most literally, that God created it and he used literal days to create everything on earth. That's the one that I think received the most derision, because what it does is it creates the idea of a very young earth, and much younger than what conventional science tells us is the actual age of the earth. And many people think that idea has merit because they believe in a literal translation of the Bible, and I think that is perfectly acceptable. Now, not necessarily my take on it, but this is why I don't like to deride that version of it, because what we see with what we can create ourselves in our own environments that we have, that we can control. The best way I think about to describe it is a computer program. Specifically, what I'll think of is a video game, like Minecraft, or if you're more my age, you're thinking maybe Age of Empires or something like that, where you have a map. You can generate randomly a map, and it has all these things in it. It has an earth, it has trees, it has bones, it has all these things in it, made to the specifications that we give it. And we do that in these controlled environments that we've created and we've learned to manipulate. So if we can do these things within a computer program, with limited power as just mere mortals, without that idea of creation, what does that tell us about the abilities of a being so powerful it could create the universe? Of course, something that powerful can create whatever they want to make it look however they want it. They can make it look much older. The question behind that is why? Why have you done that? Is this in order to, you know, create some sort of tension between folks? I don't believe so. If this is the case, if this is the proper understanding of it, then I'm sure that there is a very good reason that we will discover in due time. I've tended to fall into more of the I guess what you would call intelligent design. I think that the Earth was created over, and the universe, but everything was all created over what we would consider, millions and billions of years, eons upon eons, which might be, which might be different for a being that probably transcends time, and exists beyond it. Um, where this creation takes millions, like I said, millions, billions of years from a God that has created what we understand as science, all the rules, gravity, and other things that we know and that we use, math, that kind of stuff, the science that we all study. Um, he is the originator of that. So he's created this environment himself, and it operates within these rules. And it has taken so many years of him preparing this for us. And God is a creator. God is a creator at heart. I think that is so much so described in Genesis as what he is. He's a creator, and he loves the idea of creation. I think that's why we have the imaginations that we do, is because just because he made us in his image. Now, that's something I think a lot of people don't consider, is when we say that God made us in his image. What are we talking about? Are we talking about the flesh of our bodies, or are we talking about the soul inside of us? Maybe God's idea of his own image does not include what you see right here, but what exists inside of you. And we're getting a little off track with that, but this is all wraps up in that idea of creation. What we do, um, what we do when we disagree with each other in these cases, is we can often get in heated debates on something that ultimately does not matter. Regardless of what approach you take to creation, the bottom line is whichever one is right and whichever one is wrong does not matter. It does not change. Um, it does not change the the point of us being children of God. Ultimately, when he gathers us to him, the truth will be known to us, and I don't think it will matter one way or the other. But man, it would be awesome to see it happen in person. Um, but this is what it is, and it's in a and I think that a lot of people get sidetracked on it, and I think a lot of people let themselves get led astray because of questions about that. Well, how did he create it? What's such a silly thing? There were birds before there was land. Why would you buy that? Don't get caught up. If these are questions that are going through your head, don't get caught up in that. What you have to remember is Genesis was part of the what we call the Pentateuch, and that's the first five books of the Bible. And I believe that these are mostly attributed to the writings of Moses, and he's writing this account for the Israelites. And you got to remember, this is a people that lived thousands of years ago and did not have all of the scientific understanding that we have, or the exposure to, you know, telescopes and microscopes and carbon dating and all these other things. You think of all the things they had to go without, all the things that are a wonder to them. And the idea of creating the cosmos is barely, if it even is, within our grasp to conceive. But imagine that to somebody who doesn't even understand that there's a universe outside of the Earth. Trying to explain that to them, and this is really just a good account of the purpose of the God is the origin. He created all things. He created the animals around us, the earth that we stand on, and really from there, giving us dominion over the earth. And I think is what Genesis 1 is really setting the stage, or really explaining for us. And this will go into the next chapters. But what the purpose behind this is really not for us to get caught up on the literalness of what, or whether it's a metaphorical take on the Bible. So there it is, and this is my explanation of it. Like I said, Bible Gateway. This is the website I use. I use it when I'm teaching Sunday school because it's easier to navigate than any of the apps that I've come across. You can get it's got a little sidebar area that you can get rid of, so you're not seeing all the advertisements and things. But it also has this nifty little side part where you can watch other YouTube videos, which aren't me, which that's fine, whatever. Wherever you can get your knowledge and your discipleship from is good as long as it's well founded in this book in the Word of God, right? But and then it does a little overview, so it's got some really good little notes to it. I love that they put this out there and that it's available to everybody. The Bible should be free. The Bible should always be free. Now I understand there are costs involved. Like I paid money for this because it's got different annotations in it, but sourcing just the availability of the Bible, I think, is such an important thing. I think it is why Christianity struggled at some stages in mankind once it was written. It was because there was when there was a lot of illiteracy, there was limited access to the Bible. So there was a little there to me that's limited access to the Word of God. Um, and now we have it. And if I were you, I would take advantage of that. So this will wrap up tonight's live stream, and I don't know. I've got zero viewers. I got zero chats, but that's okay. If there was anything to be said, I would be responding to it too. And eventually, I hope I continue to do this, and people will take notice and join, and there will be some more interaction because I think that um, for the most part, the best discussions or the best way to learn about the Bible is to read it and discuss it with other people because you'll hear other takes and other perspectives that might change the way that you're looking at it and might change it for the better. But again, listen to it on the inside. God wants us to use our brains, but He also wants us to learn to look inside ourselves to find what's right, and that means looking for the right way, the right things inside you. And if you start making excuses on the why you must be right about something, that's a good warning sign that you're doing something wrong. That's aside from Genesis 1. Like I said, we can get off topic about a couple of things, and I really should be wrapping this up. But anyway, this past half hour has been great. I was a little nervous getting this started, but I think I got everything set up pretty well, and I hope that you all see this, get some enjoyment out of it, and come back and watch some more. In the meantime, God bless,